welcome back to another one of my videos. In today's video, I created another springtime makeup look, but this time I use drugstore makeup because I'm actually surprised how many people request drugstore makeup look and drugstore makeup hauls, drugstore first impressions. So I guess the drugstore is it. So I was excited to have to go back and find some stuff. I used a lot of the things that I already had and some new things that I went back and I found. And one of them is this beautiful Covergirl Trunaked Jewel Tone Palette. Now look at that purple and blue in there. It was so pretty. I do become hesitant when I do buy drugstore eyeshadows because not a lot of them apply nicely. You have to work a little harder sometimes. You have to blend more, or sometimes you just have to dip your brush a couple times in the palette, or you have a lot of kick up or something. But I saw this palette and I wanted to give it a try, and when I got home, of course, the usual, I go and I start swatching it, and it didn't swatch out the greatest. It was a little bit chalky and patchy in the swatch, so I knew immediately that I had to use a good primer. And the purple and the blue, or makeup palettes like this, you always have to use a good primer underneath, but especially with the blue and the purple, which I swatched, and you almost get like a hue of the color on your skin. It does not come out as bold as it is in the palette. And the trick to that is you have to put a good primer. In other words, when I mean a primer, it has to be like a really white base primer, or even a black base primer, like a gel eyeliner that comes in a pot. If you dip your finger or your brush and you apply that on your eyelid and you apply the color on top, it is another world. In my case, I ended up using this NYX Jumbo pencil, and it's called Milk. It's a classic. I'm sure a lot of people know about it. And if you do a swatch of this, and then you get just a black creamy eyeliner, and you do a swatch of this as well, and you get, let's grab the purple color. Now the purple color is going to swatch like this on your hand. So I mean, it's pretty decent. It's a kind of like a wash of the color. If you go ahead and do a swatch on top of the white, look at the difference. It's so much more pigmented. And if you do it on the black, same thing, just kind of more iridescent on the swatch on top of the black. Let me show you guys. So you see the difference? This is the swatch with nothing underneath. This is the swatch with the black underneath, and this is the swatch with the white underneath. And that's how you get a really good swatch on colors that maybe the quality isn't that good, but you want to make them bold and bright, and for them to last long on your skin, you have to put that type of primer underneath if you want the color to really stand out. As you'll see in the tutorial, I chose the Milk Jumbo pencil in Milk, and I applied that on my eyelid to make the blue stand out, because it didn't stand out on your natural skin. And even if you use a good primer, the primer is going to help you maintain the color on, but I don't think the color is going to be as bright, again, because you want something really strong underneath, like a white or a black tone. Above my lid on the crease, I just have primer, so I got like a nice wash of the purple. When I was at the drugstore, I was gravitated to this palette immediately because of the colors, but when I turned it around to kind of like read the back, I saw that this palette that says looks designed by Pat McGrath, and if you guys don't know who she is, she's a world famous international makeup artist that I have been following her for so many years. I get very inspired by her because she creates such beautiful looks on a lot of these magazine covers that I remember looking at growing up as a young girl. So as soon as I saw her name on the back, I was like, okay, I'm buying it. I bought these highlighters from Wet n Wild, and I have on today this beautiful violet highlighter, and let me show you guys a swatch. Highlighters pretty much is the same thing. If you wet your skin, or you wet your brush and you do a swatch of the color's a lot more pigmented. And again, because it is a drugstore product. And I'm not saying all products are like this, even from the same line. It's just certain products are, you know, I swatch them. Some work great without water or a primer, and some work even better with water or with a primer. And in this case, you could see the difference in these two when I do a swatch of it. So in this case, you could see how pigmented this swatch is with my hand being wet. I went ahead and swatched it for you so you guys could see. See how pretty this violet highlighter is from Wet n Wild. It's so pretty. That's a very pretty highlighter, as long as you like either wet your brush or, you know, you apply it. And what I do is I wet my beauty blender and I, you know, bounce it on my skin right on top of the highlighter to make that color really stand out and pop. It's different. I think it was fun. You know, it's nice for the springtime because it's a nice violet undertone and it kind of went with the eyes that I have on today. Another item that I did buy from Physicians Formula, this bronze booster palette. You guys, I don't know what to tell you, but Physicians Formula is really kicking some serious butt at the drugstore. I have been liking a lot of their stuff. This contour palette is amazing. This center color right here is perfect. I think somebody with a very fair tone can probably even get away with wearing this, especially if you're more towards a medium skin tone. This bronzer was amazing. I loved it. And I also used the highlighter kind of to set my cheeks, not really under my eyes, but to set my concealer above my cheeks. And I loved it. I don't really like to set too much powder under my eyes because, you know, my skin is a little more mature, and if I put powder underneath my under eyes with the concealer, it kind of does dry my eyes out. I like to just, you know, put a concealer and not have to set it, unless it's like a real creamy hydrating concealer that can slip around. I do like to set it, but like my Tarte Shape Tape, I typically don't set that because that concealer already is more drying. Okay, and that's gonna bring me into this. You guys, this concealer is amazing. You guys have to try it. You have to try it. This reminds me a lot of a combination between the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer and the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, and like you mixed them together. That is what this formula reminds me of. It does dry towards the matte. It has like a nice setting to it. It sets itself. It does dry nice. I don't have to set it with powder because, again, my skin is a little more dry under my eyes. I have more wrinkles, so I don't want to set too much. Somebody who's younger maybe can set it with powder, but it's a little bit creamier and more hydrating at the beginning of the application than the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. The container reminds me a lot of the MAC Pro Longwear. I think that's what it's called. The MAC Pro Longwear. So you see how it has a pump? Same thing. The container is pretty much the same, but it's just a little bit smaller. You guys have to try it. This is literally by far my favorite concealer at the drugstore. This is the Physicians Formula Insatready Full Coverage Concealer. And I got the colors Fair and Light. I like to highlight with the fair and kind of conceal with the light. I thought that I needed the medium tone, but the medium tone, there's only 3 colors. There's fair, light, and medium at the drugstore. And I think the medium tone might be a little too dark, but I might end up buying it. I might end up going back to buy the medium just to check it out because you can't beat that. And I ended up getting like $2 off the concealer because the packaging had a coupon on it. I think it was like $12 or $14. Don't quote me the price, but it has a coupon on it. And again, for drugstore and that price, you can't beat it. It's really good concealer. The only negative thing I have to say is that when you do pump it, you get enough product for both eyes to conceal and highlight. If you're the type of person that doesn't like a lot of concealer, it will pump too much for you. So be alert, only pump it once because you get a lot of concealer. And that's kind of like what the MAC Pro Longwear does. It's the same packaging, so it pumps the same way. It's the only downfall to it, that when you pump it, a lot comes out. The other thing I picked up from the drugstore that I love is this lip I have on. Now, I love this look. I love to kind of incorporate a spring bold eye with like kind of a deep neutral lip. What I have on now, I think this is like, it looks a little gray. I like that. It's kind of like a mauvey deep gray lipstick, and it is kind of like your fall winter color, but I love to incorporate looks like that with a spring eye. And this is from the brand called Perfect Tone Matte Lip Cream, and I think it's a makeup collection for people of darker skin. It's a matte lip cream, so they have different shades, and this was in the color 5402. There is no name. The brand is BR, so if you see a brand in the drugstore that gears to dark complexion and it starts with BR, that's the brand. And I think the other item was that I remember I told you guys I was looking for a good drugstore eyebrow pencil. I found this one from Maybelline called Brow Precise Micro Crayon, and there was a lot of drugstore brow stuff that I knew that I didn't want to even use because I'm hesitant. If the lead of the brow pencil is too thick or too wide, I'm not gonna like it. And if it has that sponge at the end that's kind of like meant to kind of fade or brush off the color, I don't know, I still haven't bought that design yet. So I did find this, and the word micro pencil is what caught my attention because it reminds me a lot of the Brow Wiz, and I like the Brow Wiz. And I don't know how I feel about my brows. They're a little too, I don't know. I'm not sure yet how I feel about this brow pencil, but I'm gonna continue to give it a try. Another item that I found from WetnWild was this MegaGlo cheek and lip tint. That is what I have on today, and I love this. This applied so nice and creamy, and I actually applied this after I had applied my powder, and I used this e.l.f. stippling brush to apply it, and I just, you know, tapped it on my cheeks even after I had applied my powder. And the other item, one more item that I did use was this from Rimmel Brow This Away. This is a clear brow gel, and you know, back in the days, I don't know if you guys know my story and how I started with makeup. You refer to my first video, I'll link it down below. I'll tell you the story as to how I got into makeup. And one thing I do remember doing was I had like an old toothbrush, and I would spray it with hairspray, and I would brush my brow hairs with it because I wanted my brows to stay in place. You know, I was big on my brows when I was really young, and like I said, if you watch that video, you guys will see why. But I used to get like an old toothbrush and spray it with hairspray to brush my brow hairs. And of course, later on, Maybelline, I think, was the first one to come out with that clear brow gel in their classic mascara container, you know, like the green and pink container that was huge in the 80s. They came out with clear mascara as well, and when that came out, I was like, genius, you know, this is perfect. I don't have to use hairspray anymore. But yeah, I remembered that when I bought this Rimmel Brow. It's called the Rimmel Brow This Way Clear Brow Gel, and it works fine. I mean, I brushed my brow hairs and they are in place. So anyways, you guys are interested in seeing this makeup tutorial, then stick around. Okay guys, I'm using my L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover Correcting Palette, which I really love. I am using the green to neutralize all this redness that I have around my nose and on my nose from horrible allergies. I am also using the purple to neutralize the dullness in my skin, to kind of brighten it up since it's so dull lately. I am using it with a damped beauty blender, which is the best way to apply this palette. And I'm also choosing the yellow tone to diminish the dark circles, the darkness around my eyes. Concealer is a great tool to use to prime your eyes to prepare them for eyeshadow instead of regular eyeshadow primer. Here I'm using the new Physicians Formula Insatready Concealer that I truly love. I'm using that to cancel any redness or dark circles on my eyelids, and I'm here using also my NYX Jumbo Pencil in the color Milk. Notice how I'm only applying that on my eyelid, blending that in to prepare for the eyeshadow. Here, the Covergirl's Jewels palette, I'm placing the blue only on my eyelid, and then I'm going to blend away any harsh lines in the crease area. Now I'm choosing the second to lightest color in the palette. It has a really pretty mauve-y, kind of a purple undertone. And I'm using that as my transition color, and notice how the blue is disappearing. So I am having to go back and reapply more of that blue, and now I'm choosing the pretty bright purple of the palette and applying that. And as you can tell, the colors are not really blending all that well, and that's the reason why this palette was a little hard to work with. I'm gonna grab a synthetic brush and wet the brush to reapply the blue so that the blue sticks better to the skin with a wet brush. Now I am choosing this eyeliner from e.l.f. Cosmetics. It's just a basic purple eyeliner from the e.l.f. Cosmetic line, and I'm using that in my waterline. Here I'm picking up the purple in the palette with my Morphe M432, my eyeliner brush, and I am using that to set the eyeliner. And I have also applied my Ardell Wispy lashes. Now I'm going to choose the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation in the color Cream Beige. I really like this foundation. It has such a nice coverage. The only thing that is hard to deal with is the smell when you initially apply it, but it does go away. If you can get past the smell, this is a really nice foundation. And I am using my IT Cosmetic Airbrush number 110 brush to apply it. And I will then follow it by a damp beauty blender to push in the product and blend it really nicely to the skin so that it has that nice airbrush finish. Now I'm going on into brows, and I'm using the new Maybelline Brow Precise Micro Crayon in the color Deep Brown. And now I'm choosing my NYX eyeshadow base to clean up the outer perimeter of my brows. And like I've said before, I like to use this because it's more of a dry formula and it is an eyeshadow base, which works better than concealer if you want to correct your brows. Now I'm choosing a really light color from the palette with a small shader brush to highlight my brow bone. With my Morphe E18, it's a round smudge brush. I am picking up the purple in the palette and I'm applying that on my lower lid, and I'm kind of blending away that purple line that we created to make it a little smoky. Now I'm choosing the Brow This Way Rimmel London Clear Brow Gel to set my brows. And now for my favorite part, I am using the new Physicians Formula Insatready Full Coverage Concealer in the color Light to conceal and highlight. I am also using an e.l.f. Flawless Concealer brush to apply my concealer and to blend it away. And now I'm using the new Physicians Formula Bronze Booster Contour and Highlight Palette. I am also setting the areas that I concealed and highlighted with the light shade, and I am also going to use my Physicians Formula Argan Wear Powder in Beige to set my foundation. I am choosing this center color right here to contour my skin with my NARS Eater brush. Now I'm choosing the bronzer color in the palette, and I've noticed that this color is very strong, it's very deep and very pigmented, so I had to use it very lightly to bronze my skin. The color in the center, the contour, is a great nose contour color as well. It's very pigmented, but the tone in the color is just right. I really like this WetnWild MegaGlo cheek and lip tint. This is in the color Crush Upon a Time, and I'm using that with my e.l.f. small stippling brush to apply the color even after I've applied powders. I'm going to highlight now with my WetnWild MegaGlo highlighting powder. It's a limited edition collection in the color Lilac to Reality with a Target Up and Up brush, and I'm using a damp beauty blender as well to dampen the color to bring the highlight out and make it pop, and I am also applying that on my nose and on my cupid's bow. And I am also highlighting the inner corners of my eyes. Just look at how pretty this highlighter is for the inner corners of the eyes. So I found out the name of the brand of this matte lip cream. It's from a brand called Black Radiance, a brand that caters to women of dark skin. It doesn't have a name on the container, but it's the number 5402, and I'm pairing it up with a NYX lip liner in the color Nude Beige. And as always, please refer to the description area of my video for all the items used in this video. I will have it all listed down below. If you have any questions, don't forget to leave them as well, and I will answer all your questions. And now I'm going to set my makeup with the Milani Make It Last setting spray, also using my Maybelline Colossal Big Shot Mascara in black. That was it, guys. That is the complete tutorial. I hope you guys found it easy to follow and you enjoyed looks like this. Let me know if you guys are interested in seeing a makeup look. Even if you guys have a specific product that you guys want to recommend for me to, go and buy and create a look with it, I would love to hear from you. And let me know also what you guys think. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends, and subscribe for future videos. Thank you guys for watching.